Another thing too I realized is that I would know, like, we would destroy on rounds that I knew how to leverage advantages against, right? So let's say CT side, T side, I can predict their economy. Oh, their rifle low buy. Oh, their eco half buy. Rifle no op. I know how to manage these rounds really well because I could call something from freeze time that would know how to counter these teams and what they're likely to run. But I would actually end up struggling really hard against full buy versus full buy because I didn't know what the fuck to do. I didn't know what to do. Like, what is the goal of this? And what I realized recently is that these rounds, these full buy versus full buys, these are the rounds that there's nothing to leverage. There is nothing, you can't leverage your util against them. You can't leverage your guns against them because they're equal, right? They're essentially equal to you. They have full util, full guns, ops, you have op, etc. So on these buy rounds, full buy versus full buy, your job is to actually start conditioning something to eventually cash out on. Because what I was doing with this team is that we had so many different punches, kicks, like I said before, is that I would just throw a different one, you know, randomly. Okay, well, we'll abs pop this round. Okay, we'll B pop now. Okay, and there's no method to the madness. So it was just like, let's just do a bunch of random shit, which can work against someone who doesn't understand how to counter that. But it's just like boxing. Like if you throw a bunch of different punches and you never throw the same punch over and over, that shit you can see coming. Like there's no fakes. Like you didn't fake, you didn't, you know, it's boxing. You can see an overhand cut right coming. You can see a right hook coming. If there's no jab, there's no lead up to it. So what I realized for these full buy versus full buy rounds, your job during these rounds isn't to just win that round. Your job is to condition something in that round, make them respect you for whatever it is, create an if then. I'll talk about this in a second. Create an if then that eventually will win you rounds in the future. Do that and win the round. That's your job in your full buy rounds. Your job isn't just to win the round. Your job is to condition something for the future and win that round. So that's why sometimes you'll see these pro teams and you're like, just do this, like you'll win. And there's a good chance they're not doing something because they're setting themselves up for the future. There's conditioning and there's cashing out of your conditioning where you did something over and over and over that eventually you can cash out of it because now you know how the opponent is going to react to it because you made them react to it over and over and over. They have to respect it at a certain point. Us doing random shit works against opponents that have weak defenses. They just don't know how to counter it, you know, so that works really well. But at a certain level, when you start progressing the ranks, no one has a weak defense. Everyone's starting protocols are like so good that you can't do random shit and think it's going to work because everyone knows how to counter that stuff. So the whole point of conditioning and cashing out is to create a weakness in their defense, right? If you just like, okay, rush B, rush A, pop B, pop abs, pop A, pop this, and you're doing random stuff, you never condition anything. They probably already have set protocols for their standard spots to counter all these things. So you're just getting fucked up. Like they see it coming. But let's say if you spend 6 rounds taking arch control and ramping B, taking arch and ramping B, and then you lose like 5 of those. Now the 7th round, you throw the arch util, you throw this. Now you condition the CT to respect this. He's probably gonna be like, oh, they're just gonna do the same thing and ramp B, and then you hit A. See, you just created a weakness by conditioning something. So you actually spend rounds, and sometimes you spend them losing it, and it's still like not a complete loss because you spent that round conditioning something to eventually cash out in the future. That's the whole point of your buy rounds. Is not just to win the round, it's to condition something for the future and win the round. And so sometimes a buy round can go bad, you lose the round, but you set yourself up for the future. And then you just dominate the rest of the game because you condition something and then you can play off of that, play off the reaction, play off that reaction, yada, yada, yada. And then you just control the game. Does that make sense?